Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Turf War, the coolest fantasy football league on the planet. Before we get started, I've got a special note from our Commissioner Cory, and it reads, as of 18 August 2025, 4:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, after an 11,257-mile journey, that's 4.7 of the way percent of the way to the moon, Fantasy Turf War is officially the first fantasy football league commissioned from Antarctica. It's cold as you would expect, but it's the wind that really bites. I'm enjoying watching the three of you Yahoos talk shop every week. Keep up the great work, and best of luck with the show. P.S. Nobody likes the Cowboys here either. Cory, come on. All right, well, Cory is on an assignment in Antarctica, which is probably one of the coolest places on Earth and the last frontier for exploration on our planet. He just shared a few pictures on social media, but keep an eye on the intro to our show. He may just sneak in some views from the ice. So currently, Antarctica weather is actually good right now, mostly cloudy, a balmy minus 11 degrees Fahrenheit, with light winds of 17 miles per hour out of the northeast, gusting at 25. Good chance of southern lights this week. Well, that'd be cool. All right, back to the show. This is Season 2, Episode 5, our 80th episode, and we have a lot in store for you today, but I cannot do it myself. Let me bring in my co-host, Adam from Fantasy Couriers, and Susan, who, of course, is the Gridiron Goddess. Welcome, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Spectacular. This is a busy weekend coming up. I know Susan's going to be bouncing off the walls all night on the show. We were talking prior. Give an update. Tell us what's going on with you right now.
Nothing. I'm just living my Swifty swelfy high. I mean, how was I supposed to get anything done today after that happened?
Oh,
my
I hope
favorite
got stuff
memes
prepped for
that
tonight.
I saw today. My favorite memes that I saw today were, I can't believe that I found out about this from ESPN.
Yeah. Oh, mercy. Again, we got a lot in store for you guys, but first, introductions. Let's go Susan first. Introduce yourself to the group.
I'm Susan, the Gridiron Goddess. Find me on most social media platforms. IG and TikTok are my mains, but I'm here to help new people learn the game of fantasy football.
Excellent. Adam?
I'm Adam. You hear me on the Fantasy Couriers as DJ Dove. The fantasycouriers.com is down there at the link. It leads you to everything we do. It's the easiest resource. It leads to do Fantasy Pros rankings, Fantasy Pros articles. Bumped up a bunch this weekend. Actually just posted a thing where we had to choose our busts of the year, and I decided I haven't looked at the whole article with everybody else, but I wrote Saquon Barkley. It's just to watch people cry. Like, they don't know it's me. Now they do, or at least 4 people do. But they don't know it's me, so I got to put it on there. So, but it's just a fun little thing. They let people sign up in experts and do rankings. So that's gonna be my Mondays and Tuesdays, having rankings every week. But all the stuff's on there through us. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to see our handsome faces, it's on Spotify, and we're using Riverside now. So we're trying to figure out how to do little streams and a little fancier than cool. I'll let the secret out. We used to use Windows Media Movie Maker because I'm old.
Wow, Saquon as a bust. That almost sounds like you're trying to be an attention getter. I don't know about that, but hey, that's just my take.
I don't know. I'm on board. I'm on board.
Now, bust doesn't mean running back 75.
Well, that is true.
I'm picking third.
Relative to what you expect to happen, exactly. So, any of you guys complete any drafts or do any drafts over the past week since we last met?
I did not. I have a super weekend coming up, but I got one league that I had to give a shout out. I have a league. It's called Kickers Are People Too, and it's the most most fun live draft. I joined years ago. Pastor Jacques, who's in our league, he's the Wholehearted Foundation. It's the league I do with him, and they do all sorts of crazy. The other year, we had a live person come in and sing the Star Spangled Banner. The other night on YouTube, there was from Pastor Jacques' church, one guy created a little ball machine, like the lottery, in our newsroom, ping pong balls, and they did a live stream where all of our names came out for our draft order. We got
that is so cool.
We got to make videos for the thing. I got to go make a Super Bowl touchdown celebration video, and we have a food cook off. It's a whole spectacle. That's next Sunday night. It's a crazy wild spectacle.
That's awesome.
What about give them a shout out if they watch? So if not, you can delete this part out of the final edit. So guys, hope you're watching. You can pop a note in the comments.
Yeah, I did one of our drafts this past weekend. You know, we're here to give advice for people. And sorry, guys, I actually did take a Green Bay wide receiver. We talked about not doing that. We talked about if you want somebody, take the quarterback. I did. But then I'm so late in the draft, like the last rounds, and it's like, you know what? Shot in the dark. Might as well. There's nobody else out there I wanted, and I just threw it. So it's like, okay, fine. We'll see. I don't really need. Probably will never use them any of the weeks. The Golden Child. You had to go with the Golden Child. So, yeah. So, yeah. It was one of those things I really didn't want to do, but then at the same time, again, there wasn't much out there. So it's like, okay, I'm familiar with this, but I also have love to pair them up with if I have to use them. And I don't think I'm going to, just because I'm pretty deep at the wide receiver position on my team. So all good there. Any lessons learned anybody wants to throw out to people who draft other than don't draft because you like the color of the uniform or the design of the logo or anything like that? I know people like that,
I did a keeper draft. My main dynasty league, we've started a keeper league to pair with it, and the winner of that keeper league gets an extra draft pick. So we'll like pause the draft, and you'll get 213, right? Where it's a 12-person league. Wow, so at the end of the second round, if you win the keeper league, you get an extra draft pick in the dynasty draft, and then you also get to add a rule to the keeper league.
Oh wow!
So we had that.
That could be abusive. My gosh!
So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. But I was feeling one of a dynasty league. I was just like checking in with stuff, right? And I realized I have Lamar, Bo Nix, and Dak Prescott in a league, and I'm like, feeling pretty good about that one.
Nice. There you go.
You just like recheck in with stuff. You're like, okay, I'm done. We did our rookie drafts way after the NFL draft. So it's like, it's really just been on hiatus.
I have a rookie draft Friday to be weird. Like this one league, they want to draft and I was against it initially, and it really came to because it just changed of guys running it. It's JJ Watt's brother-in-law. And I was like, this is stupid. It's the weekend before. It's rookies. But now I'm kind of like, ooh, I got another rookie Friday at like 8:30. It's only 3 right? It's like minutes.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's popping through and then a whole bunch running through. And the answer to your question, Cameron, is don't follow the runs, which means if a quarterback goes, then a quarterback goes, and a quarterback goes, and a quarterback goes. But also don't miss out due to the runs. It's like a double-edged sword. So if you see a lot, like, people go tier-based rankings. That's where they're useful. If you have like 7 quarterbacks you want, and there's a run on quarterbacks, but they only take 3 of them, you're safe. If they get up to about 5 of them, you might be like, okay, I got to join the run because I want that quarterback. And go in with a plan, but be willing to zag. Those are the 2 bits of advice for us.
I like that. You have to go in with a plan, but everything I've done this year, I've jumped into the draft thinking I'm going to go this and this is my first couple picks. And then as the draft unfolds, you've got to pivot and figure out what makes the most sense of what you think will still be there perhaps in the later rounds too. So, well, we've covered a lot of people over the last couple of weeks. Some of the information we talked about even most recently, like last week, was the Washington running back field. We talked about Brian Robinson on the trade block. And to your point, Susan, well, we really can't say much about it unless he's actually traded. Boom, there it happened Friday, gone. Went to the San Francisco 49ers. And then in comes Krosky Merritt and Eckler. And then Chris Rodriguez. It's like still maybe a little bit muddied backfield there at Washington, but we talked this pretty well through last week. I think we hit all the points, and I think we're still dead on center exactly where people need to be. So again, listen to last week's podcast.
I'm putting it out there. I'm still taking Eckler over Jordan Mason.
There you go. House. Okay, there you go.
You got me wanting to take Eckler. Let's just put it that way. And I'm a Bill guy. I'm a Bill guy. Eckler,
they're gonna use him. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
They have to. I agree. Terry McLaurin, new contract. That changes the dynamics. That makes that whole team off the charts now. So again, keep tuned to that. But I like where Washington's headed. I like the commitment, just like Cincinnati started committing to their defensive player Hendrickson. So good there.
Hendrickson got
and just like one
defensive player.
and then just like other committals, Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland not committing to them. So there's a sort of a committal, non-committal there. And then the other committal we heard that just happened, the committal of Kelsey and fiance, or as Susan likes to say,
switch it, Taylor and fiance.
So understanding is that you are a big Swiftie. Is that true?
I am. Yes, I am. I have.
Okay.
My kids are invested. They're 5 and 6. And they got in the car from school today, and I said, "Girls, guess what? Taylor Swift got engaged." And my 5-year-old goes, "No way!" So we're rocking and rolling over here.
Yeah, my daughter Kara is a big Swiftie as well. Yeah, she's very high on the Swiftie train. So if she could be the conductor of the train, she would be. So.
No, the conductor of that train is Travis Kelce now.
Well, it is now. It is now.
He is her
absolutely.
number one fan, and it's awesome to watch.
Any NFL news that surprises anybody over the last week? We've seen a lot of people get dropped over the last day because everybody's got to get down to the 53-man roster. Big shock, surprises. Day. Yeah. Everything hold to the form you thought maybe, or
people that were best balling are a little disappointed. MVS got cut by the Seahawks. He's not going to move the needle, but in best ball, you want that Christmas bomb guy. So he's like a 7th-round guy. So now you got dead weight on your best ball team. He's decent enough. I think he'll end up somewhere, but I don't think he'll have the value he might have had, at least knowing the system. But that was was there any big names really? I think there's still some trades that occur after this point. I was going to revisit. We talked about Shedeur. I thought the funniest meme I saw was the 4 guys that were blocking for Shedeur in the Browns game all got cut.
I heard that.
Conspiracy theory.
and the guy that they saved had first stringers blocking for him. I heard the same thing, and it's like, wow. But I do wish Bill the best for Shedeur because I think he has raw talent. I think it just needs to be corralled a bit with that personality. You never know where he's going to land up. Maybe he ends up being a coach with his dad. Who knows?
He's the only Sanders left. His brother socked someone and got cut.
Yeah.
I thought there were rumors about Shiloh getting picked up by somebody. Maybe Pittsburgh. Maybe that was just a rumor, or I don't know. But who knows?
Dallas.
Maybe that was just a joke.
I've seen rumors about the Canadian Football League.
Shedeur's rights are in the Canadian Football League. A team took his rights in the draft. So
that's
when he gets down, I forget which team it was.
I think Shedeur's going to stick around, but the Browns are keeping him. Hopefully, they develop him. I think. For fantasy football purposes, though, Pickett being sent away because he was going to be.
Key.
If once Flacco stopped playing, they were gonna have to move to Pickett probably.
Oh yeah.
So I think now that Pickett's gone, Flacco's the starter. He's gonna be the starter. Oh, here's the other thing: Rattler being named the starter for
New Orleans. Well, not a surprise, I guess. Not a surprise
Tyler
here.
Shuck was supposed to take that role, and Rattler snuck in. And I've got Rattler on a couple teams. I dropped Tyler Shuck. If you can't beat out Spencer Rattler, you're done. We know the Saints. If you're in Dynasty, the Saints are getting a new quarterback next year. So guys, be watching. Is Arch Manning going to follow his dad's footsteps, or his granddad's? I guess his granddad's.
That would be interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting. We got so much we would like to talk about today. Today's show is all about fantasy football handcuffs. We're going to break it all down for you guys today. So, but first, I think we got some business to attend to. Is that correct, Adam?
Oh, we do. So let's take a quick time out to shout out to our partners at Alpha Clash, the trading card game that turns every match into a battle for glory. In the Alpha Class universe, superheroes collide in high-stakes battle, where every card you can play will shift the outcome. Build your deck, unleash devastating abilities, and outmaneuver your opponent in a game that's as much about brains as it is about bold moves. The artwork will pull you in, the gameplay will keep you hooked, and the community is ready to test you at every level. Head to alphaclasstcg.com and start your journey today. That's alphaclasstcg.com. It's time to enter the clash. Alpha Class has also generously donated booster packs where you at home can win, starting in September. It's kind of
That
fun.
is fantastic.
I'm a drama.
Love the energy you bring to that. Yeah, I love that. No, I love that. All right. So, as many leagues are doing their draft this weekend, we've got something to talk about today that's really important. So, if you're trying to gain that edge on your opponents, or if you're trying to fill in those last roster spots, that topic today is going to help you. Fantasy handcuffs. So, even if your league has already drafted, this topic is also going to be really relevant for you, because if you need to start backfilling for injuries, or maybe you're just looking to improve your team's depth. So maybe you can listen and pick up some things from us. But in case people haven't heard of the term handcuff, let's start there. Handcuff, a player who is a backup, who's expected to see a significant increase in workload if the primary player at the position is injured or suspended. So if you have a starter who's prone to injuries, might be a good idea to get his backup as an insurance policy just in case. Some team owners will not only draft the primary running back, but the backup as well, just to prevent others from stealing a valuable player if something adverse happens. I like doing that. So as we talk about some of the fantasy handcuffs we like and don't like, feel free to think about some yourselves and ask us. We'll give you our takes. And as always, you can always save those player names till the end of our show, and we'll try to rapid fire through our thoughts on those things. So we've brought some names to the table, and I think we're just going to jump into it. So let's talk about handcuffs you would want on your team. So Susan, give us a handcuff and some rationale behind them, and what would compel you to want them on your team?
All right, so I'm going to start with Tyler Algier of the Atlanta Falcons. He is Bijan, which he finally corrected everybody how to say his name. Bijan Robinson's handcuff. But he has proven that he can have a little standalone value in the right situation. So he can be an emergency flex play for you if you need it. He is somebody who gets enough work in a game to relieve Robinson when he needs it, that you can play him in an emergency. I would not call him a starter for your weekly roster, but bye weeks, injuries, if you really need someone, you can use him. Now, a little facts about him as a player to help because if Robinson goes down and is out, he has shown that he can carry the load. 2022, he was up, and 2024, he was up over 4.5 yards a carry, which is pretty decent. It was 4.9 last season. So that's a decent clip for a running back, proving that he's got the skill to just take those downs and take the workload. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys follow Dynasty Nerds. They're one of the better guys for ranking rookies, predicting fantasy outcomes, not necessarily NFL outcomes or like NFL playing time, but their nerd score generally does really well in ranking these players. And when Algier came out, they had him ranked. I got to find it again. Oh my gosh, sorry. He was in the same place basically as Bucky Irving and Jaden Blue that just came out.
Wow.
Now, Bucky Irving surprised everybody, right? He came out and showed what he could do. And I think that Algier has been able to show that he can do what he takes. He gets double-digit touches, and when he gets those double-digit touches, because Robinson is out, he carries the workload, and he's a great option for your roster.
Do you find him going very early in the drafts, or about where do you think you might find him when you think about drafting?
Let me look at. He's in the double-digit rounds. Let me double-check his ADP.
Yeah.
Real quick. Sorry, I should have had that pulled up.
Oh, no worries.
gotcha.
I surprised you. I mean, generally, you're going to find handcuffs probably not starting until earliest, maybe 11th round.
53.
But
It's going to be 53.
yeah, I think the key for any handcuff is you have to think, well, am I really in a timeshare? Well, that's not really a handcuff necessarily, but by definition, it could be. Like you've got like the Gibbs and Montgomery situation in Detroit. Well, is one really a handcuff for the other? Not really. They're both viable candidates. Like you said, Algier will get you some touches, but you can't necessarily rely on him as being, one of your starters necessarily. But like in Montgomery and Gibbs's case, you could actually have people who start both. So
12th round is where
12th
he's
round.
going
Fair enough.
in a 12-team league. And to throw him on the end of a 15-person roster, totally willing to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved him coming like that first year. I was like, dang on, he's doing good. And then they drafted Robinson. I was like, oh, that's such a burn. But then he still had some. You could still see the play in there. He could. I just lost his name. Who was the guy out of the Chargers years ago that went to the Falcons? Michael Turner. He could have. He could be the next Michael Turner because Michael Turner was behind LT. And you'd see him get some flashes of it, like not what Algier really had, but then he went to the Falcons and he was a fantasy star for like 2-3 years in his later 20s because he didn't have the tread. So that's a guy, if you're in Dynasty as well, keep an eye on him. And if Robinson goes down, you've got some super value. I mean, we don't have to deal with that, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's where handcuffs fall. That's the idea of a handcuff in the grand scheme of things is nuclear option, you lose Robinson, you are solid. Like we know he's going to step in.
No doubt.
He's the man. He's going to pretty much Brad Robinson might be that guy. We're not going to talk about him, but he's the RB2 in San Francisco. And the word on the street is if you're not Christian McCaffrey and they start you in San Francisco, you're going to still rush for a bajillion yards. So it's not going to matter who you are in the Shanahan system.
Yeah. Adam, give us a guy you would take as a handcuff.
Well, I'm going. All my friends are going to go homer pick here as I go in, but it was a guy I wasn't. I don't like. I'm a begrudgingly sad Dolphins fan because it's been a rough life. They were good before I was alive, when I was really little, and then have basically been the Mendoza line or bad for my entire life. I joke with my wife. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since we've been together. This will be our 20th year of marriage. And we dated 3 years before that. So it's been a painful adulthood. But I love watching Achane run. Achane is fast as the wind, and he last year showed. I mean, we should have known that he played in the SEC before. So the dude went through the middle. He had to get tackled by all these giant guys in Bama and Georgia and so forth at A&M. So everybody came in and thought he was soft. And the first year he had some of these just weird. He had just injuries pop up. Welcome to the world of being an NFL running back. And so you always want to get the back. So we had Mostert with him, and they were that tandem. It was a great tandem they had going on. Mostert last year went down, and then Achane just boom exploded and became he didn't run for what was it, the 7.2 or whatever. We knew that was going to. That's not realistic. It came down, but he was a receiver. He was a running back, and you still want to have the guy behind him because even if he's good, there's always that little bit of fear. And in the McDaniels run and gun system, having another kind of player in there in that fast-paced offense, especially as bad as those cornerbacks are going to be, teams are going to be lighting up those cornerbacks. I mean, I think I couldn't believe they cut a cornerback because there's nobody left. The interior defense is good, but the outside is just terrible. But this kid, Ollie Gordon the second, really, out of Oklahoma State, was drafted later in the draft. I had everything pulled up. Was he 7th round, I believe? And I thought really not too much of it. I was like, okay, because they love Jalen Wright. He's a fast kid they got last year. Yeah. They had Alexander Madison all in there. And then Madison goes down. Wright's injured. And now there's a soft tissue thing going on in a calf thing with Achane, which I was just reading up some stuff that the beat reporters, David Foromes, McDaniel said that Achane's having no setbacks. Let's forward to seeing him back in practice before the opener, and he'll be fine to go. There's not, but it's soft tissue. That's something that lingers and lingers, could go. And Ollie Gordon went bonkers in the preseason. 26 carries, 126 yards, 4.8. It's the preseason, but he did what he had to do, and he now has jumped Jalen Wright supposedly as the number 2 guy. So handcuffs are there, and he might even have a smidge of value there if they want to keep Achane.
Fresh. Yeah.
Thank you. I ran out of words.
I agree.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I gotcha.
Fresh for the game.
Especially with soft tissue. I mean, you definitely want to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in a worse situation. So they might try to work in the third running back off the team just to try to keep things fresh, to keep your main player from being injured for when you need him most. So makes total sense here. And with Ollie moving up the draft boards, I had to take a double look just to see how far he was moving, because he was in the RB 70 something a few weeks ago. And I think now he's 50, 54 maybe. So he has moved up quite a bit,
according to Fantasy Pros.
And in the movement on this, it's like one of our earlier episodes. Is it hype or is it real? And I think in this case, I think this is real. I mean, there is hype around him, but I think it's warranted.
Yeah.
Fantasy Pros ADP has Algier and Gordon right next to each other, actually.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, that tells you a lot right there, I think. That tells you a lot. Yeah, the handcuff that I think people should go after is Ray Davis from Buffalo. You can look to him for picking him up probably in the 12th round. He is going to get drafted, so don't think you're going to find him afterwards after the draft. He is definitely going to get drafted, so do some homework to figure out what it is that you need on your team, and does this type of player fit what you have in mind. He can handle the full workload if there is opportunity. Last year, he had over 100 attempts. He had just under 500 yards of rushing and 4 touchdowns. And that tells you they trust him. When Cook was not in the game, they didn't even hesitate. They put Ray Davis in there, and he delivered. So he has the tools. And we know that Buffalo is going to score points. We know that. Yes, you've got the Josh Allen factor. Yeah, he's probably going to snipe some touchdowns from any of the running backs. Okay, I get that. Makes sense. But Cook just got a new contract, so that might be a little bit of downside there too. But you definitely want to draft Davis as a handcuff. Go after him in those later rounds, but don't wait too long. Somebody else will nab him. Even though they think that Cook might have a regression in touchdowns this year, well, maybe that might be option for more opportunity, more playing time for Davis. So again, there is potential there, but similar to Susan's player that she threw out, Algier, if something happens to the primary running back, you are locked and loaded, and you won't miss a step. You are going to thank your lucky stars that you had him on your roster while everybody was trying to fish for them. And you're going to be like, yeah, mine already. Sorry, move along.
One of the things before we move on to guys that we want to draft, I want to ask the question: when do you decide to take your own handcuff versus grabbing a handcuff to stash on your roster? Because that's a question that I feel like a lot of new players, we're talking about this, but like new players, they're thinking, okay, so am I grabbing my own guy, or should I wait and grab somebody else's guy for diversity?
That's a great question. I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer, I think, is first off. And I think a lot of it depends on need. If I'm already deep in certain positions, maybe I've got excess running backs or things like that. Maybe I just want to stash them just to be sure. And there's nobody else better on the board. Like you said, there were a lot of other running backs out there in similar ADPs. Well, maybe you diversify. But if those guys are gone, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking that stash, that handcuff as a stash. But you just have to understand that they may not get the normal workload that the starter will. Whereas in Algier's case, he was getting some good carries throughout the season. Not the same way with Davis. He was getting maybe 5 to 7 carries per game as his normal workload. That's not a lot for running back. So you can't rely on these handcuffs as being your bread and butter. I think it's situational. Adam, thoughts on when do you take or do you take your own handcuff?
I'm not even a handcuff guy in the. I'm looking at what's best on the board because I do a lot of dynasty. So in dynasty, yeah, I'm nabbing handcuffs. I'm nabbing anybody's handcuffs. I'll have 72 running backs on the team. You notice we listed running backs. Like that. That's what you need. Like you don't have handcuffs to receivers. You're like, who's the fourth receiver behind Jamar Chase? So I have gajillions of running backs because they drop like flies, and that's what the handcuff theory is. But I'm more. If I have you have shallower rosters in redraft that you've got to decide. Am I going to sit there with Ray Davis at the end of my bench, hoping that Cook gets hurt? I mean, that's really what you got, like not hoping, but banking on Cook getting hurt. Or am I going to look there and look at like a dart throw receiver like Thornton in Vegas who will fall at the same spot, or somebody within that spot, or a young running back that might have a chance to play? Because I mean, Ray Davis, he is like 72 years old, maybe somewhere in there.
He's 25.
He came in like as the old guy running. It's a new couple running backs that are like old running backs. He might turn 26 year, I think, but for a second-year player, he's super old, which is hilarious.
Second-year player.
But do you want the guy who's not going to have a chance versus that guy? So you're looking a couple rounds early, you're probably Dylan Sampson right now. You could get him, and he's not a guy people are thinking as much. They're all going Nick Chubb, but there's guys in there like I don't. So I also wouldn't probably, unless it's one of my buddies I really want to mess with, draft their handcuff unless I think the guy's going to be good. So I won't go be like, hey, I'm going to put Ray Davis on the edge of my. Cameron has Cooks, and I'm going to put Ray Davis on my bench because that's just killing.
It is a strategy.
It's wrong.
It is a strategy.
It is.
Him up later.
It is.
But I need a kicker at some point. I got to pick up that kicker. So that's where you go.
Yeah.
Still don't have a kicker that way.
Great question, Susan. Awesome question. When do you take him? Do you take him? I think I would align with one of the themes that Adam mentioned. If you are in a dynasty league, you're not thinking about this year necessarily. You're thinking about what is that prospect going to be doing down the road. And in Ray Davis's case, the problem here is that Cook just signed a multi-year contract. So Davis is not going to be coming to the forefront like some of the other rookies or younger running backs might. So keep in perspective the type of league that you've got as well when you think about when do I or if I select somebody's handcuff. Great question.
And I do want to say one other thing too before we move on is that this is why is another tip for beginners. This is why watching and paying attention to the waiver wire and injury news is very, very important, because some guy could go down on Sunday. Come Monday, you hear like, oh, they may be out a week. Tuesday night, that waiver claim is going to be very important if that handcuff is sitting on the waiver wire. So you've got to pay attention to what happened, not to just your roster. Doesn't necessarily mean that one of your guys got injured, but if another player went down, look to see if their handcuff is on the waiver wire to pick them up.
Opportunity, absolutely, and that's why this show is not just about those teams who have not drafted yet, but like you said, you've already drafted. Keep your ear to the ground and listen for who might be that handcuff, that hot pick that you might need to pick up, that others might be not paying attention to. Absolutely, great stuff. So we've talked about a lot of players at this point in time, but there's so many handcuffs we've not talked about. So Adam, talk to us about a handcuff you would avoid picking up for your roster. Like you wouldn't even want to touch it with a 100-foot pole.
Blake Corum won't be on my team, which makes me sad because Blake Corum's from right down the road here. He's in Virginia. Like it was exciting. Like Virginia boy, went to Michigan, had a great Michigan career. I was like, he's coming to the pros. When we did a rookie previews, JJ Wang's the he'll talk more college stuff, and I just sort of chime in and look pretty. But Blake, I was like, cool. I want Blake Corum. He's from around here. And then he went to the Rams, and didn't do diddly poo last year, and he's behind a 3-down workhorse. We know McVay is a workhorse kind of guy, and this year they're in the draft. They traded up to get Jarquez Hunter, and McVay was giddy. He's like, I got my guy. Like he was super excited. So on top of Corum doing nothing, like right now he's considered a handcuff per se, but I think my reason I don't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole is he didn't touch the field last year, really, and Hunter is the guy that McVay really wanted. Like he was excitedly giddy, and Corum they just sort of have there, and they sort of, if they would have wanted something to put him through, and neither of them Hunter has a better chance to be a change of pace to do anything. Like Quorum's that guy you're really deeply throwing on there. Like I'd rather have Ray Davis, who I think won't play unless Cooks gets hurt. But I just something stinky there, and it's gonna take a devastating injury, and I think he will get jumped as well. So it's just
or shipped somewhere else. That could be a very short career. If again, opportunity means everything. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to draft him. I won't ask him. I don't like the combination.
Makes sense.
Were you very high on Corum or not, Susan, when he came out a year ago?
I mean, I definitely would have took other guys over him. The running back class, it's hard to say fast. Last year, it was okay, but it hadn't compared to previous years. So, I mean, Brooks, who most people drafted as the first running back, right? He is so far been a kind of a bust. So, and those running backs did not grade as well overall within the scheme of running backs that have come out recently. So, I mean, and that's evident by this year's crew too. So I think in general, that class was not as great.
I agree. I did like Corum coming out. I thought, wow, what a great fit this would be for LA, because we knew that McVay liked to use running backs by committee, and they didn't do that. I was very high on Brooks. I drafted on my Dynasty League team as well as Benson, and it's like, what happened to this class? It's like, boy, I had a great plan. I was feeling really good coming out of last year's draft, and then nothing. It's like week after week, do I drop these guys or not? So again,
Benson was my guy last year. Brooks, another guy's was Benson.
All right, Susan, handcuff. Who would you avoid?
I am avoiding Tajay Spears, the handcuff to Tony Pollard. He just got injured again. They have tried and tried and tried to make that running back room a committee. Coaches have said last year, they have said that that's what they want to do. And Spears just is not letting that happen. He got injured last year. It forced Pollard into a workhorse role that they did not want to put him in. It made him decent for fantasy. He finished pretty well. And he wasn't being drafted that way because of that talk from the coaches and what they said the plan was. And it's the same thing happening again this year. They came out, they said they wanted it to be by committee. They were going to use them both. Sure enough, not only is he injured, he's injured to the fact that he's on the IR, so he's going to miss at least the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to start the year with Pollard as the workhorse. So
I like Spears when he first came out, and I thought the same thing. Oh, they're going to try to work him in for King Henry. Maybe this is the heir apparent when King Henry moves on, and then he brought in Pollard, and then he tried that, and it's like it just didn't work. I like this kid, but they can't get him on the field, and he can't get himself on the field, and when he does, it just doesn't go as planned. So, yeah, I would agree. I would not want to touch Tajay Spears for my teams either. And Adam?
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about on our pod, we were talking about Tajay Spears earlier in the offseason, like talking about how that he could make that step up because he is a younger back. He's, he's a pass catching back, and that might help Cam Ward. And then all he did was get hurt and ruin the opportunity. So it's one of those, the best ability is availability. So he's not available, which makes it, do you think Pollard now? Like, I've never been a Pollard guy. He's falling into, who is it? He's like my Aaron Jones, but not as good, I don't think. But Pollard, no one else is there. I mean, the backups, I was looking at the names, like, I remember those jobbers from years ago when I drafted them, but it's like, I don't want to touch those guys. Is Pollard slowly moving up into RB2, or is he still 3 in flex? But I mean, being by himself, that's almost RB2 territory due to this, right?
He finished running back 21 last year. So,
and that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think he's a decent low end RB2 for teams if Tajay is not going to be on the field.
And certainly Pollard's stock went up when Tajay went down, and that's unfortunate for Tajay because I think he had so much talent, so much promise, but again, no opportunities if you can't get onto the field for one reason or another. Yeah. My handcuff has been on the field, I think, too much, and that is Kareem Hunt for Kansas City. I would not want to have him on my team. I know that Kansas City trusts him. When he left the organization and when Kansas City had a need, they came calling. And again, Kansas City has trust factor with him. So, I mean, they do trust him, not like a trust issue, but that is a good factor in his case. And last year he was serviceable. He had 200 carries, over 700 yards rushing. He had 7 touchdowns. And then you throw in an extra 23 receptions. That's not bad. That's not bad productivity. A lot of people say, I'll take that as a handcuff. But again, it comes down to had to be an injury before he saw much on the field. Can Pacheco stay healthy or not? Question mark. I think Pacheco probably is a little too small for my taste for a stature of a running back who could just get bent over quickly because he runs so fast, almost like 8-chain type of speed. You're going to find Hunt late in drafts, perhaps the 15th round or after, or in some cases I see that Kareem is not even drafted at all. So I think something that works against Kareem and Kansas City is I don't think that the offense is going to be nearly as good as what we've expected in the past. I think it's a downgrade as a whole from both receiving and running backs. I question how much playing time Hunt's going to get, even though I know Kansas City trusts him. I really believe that there are going to be many, many other handcuffs available around his ADP or even better ADPs that you're going to want to circle on your list before even considering Chubb, before you consider Kareem Hunt. And I would say one of those people on the list is Chubb. And then you've got a whole host of other people like Allen, Shipley, Tootin, Benson, Spears. Well, we talked about Spears. Take him off the list now with the injury. Charbonnet. I mean, there's a whole list of other people that should be available.
Gordon and Algier.
Rounds. And
both
Algier.
the guys that Adam and I talked about are being drafted ADP-wise after Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. Throw in Rashad White, even Cam Skipbo from New York. I would probably take him before I would Kareem Hunt. So again, if you're really, really desperate, okay, do what you'd like to do, but I would say avoid him. He's going to be there if you have a change of heart.
I think that was the Corey Bassett special. How can we say bad things about the Chiefs for hours on end?
I never thought about that. Wow, and he tried to bash my Cowboys. Wow. I have to rethink my life decisions now.
I'm all in with you on not drafting Hunt, but everything else I probably disagree on. I like Pacheco. I think Pacheco is in for a good year in an offense, and I could see the Chiefs rebounding. I was listening to something today where apparently Patrick Mahomes' goal in the offseason was the long ball. And if Patrick Mahomes works on it, like he has got the potential to be better than Tom Brady, that if he opens up that long ball, that's going to help the running game. And Pacheco could step up. And I don't like Hunt because he's a guy they have in there that's good, and I won't draft him because if I'm stashing someone at the end, it's going to be their new Jerick McKinnon, also known as Brashard Smith, the 7th round pick they got. He's a speed guy out of the backfield. He might be the guy that would be in there. You've seen that some of those scat backs can take over. I mean, he's not teeny tiny. He's a little under 200 pounds, whereas actually 215 is what Pacheco is listed as, 216. But Smith, he's under 200 pounds. You want your running backs to be over 200. It's like a sort of a line that you're looking at. But he could be a guy out. He's out of SMU, but could be a good speed guy out of the background more than I think Hunt could be a guy that push comes to shove. They trim the fat, or he's just there because he knows the system and he's that guy in case of emergency break glass guy. But I wouldn't put him on there. But I do think I think the Chiefs, they might surprise because they have a couple of skill positions. I think Rashee Rice, other than the 4 to 12 games he's going to miss because we don't know because That's going to be the month of October probably. So plan for your October to be riceless because he has that hearing like 26th of September, I believe is the date. I think right after that, 4 weeks, he's toast, and then he'll be back for the playoff run. So figure you got the first 4 weeks, you got Worthy stretching the field, you got the rookie, what's his name? Royals in there. You got Hollywood wanted to come back. You got Kelsey. I mean, he's going to be rocking on sunshine. So, he's going for like 6 million yards.
That's right.
So, but I could see them stepping it up. I mean, I don't know if Rice has shown the report, but I think it's going to benefit the backgrounds. We had Hunt, back to the Hunt thing. Yeah. That's my official.
That's all you had to say, Adam.
I want to see
That's all you had to say. Well, I think you talked more about Kansas City than I did.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
Cory got me cut. I'm out of here. See you later. Bye.
That's funny.
While we're talking handcuffs, can we talk about this?
Oh, yes.
Chubb and Woody Marks. We kind of mentioned the Houston backfield last week. Yeah. I am in the same place that I do not want to touch it. Mixon is officially on IR. He's going to be out.
At least 4
weeks. I am afraid this is a very similar situation to McCaffrey last year.
Yep.
It's going to be fine. We're going to get it together. It's going to be okay. Doesn't play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So this is a situation where I'm going to be watching I'm not going to be drafting anyone, but if anybody's on a waiver wire, I'm going to be paying attention to them. I'm going to be watching the Houston backfield, see who's taking the snaps, see if they have decided anyone's a 3-down back, and watching from the sidelines. And if I have the opportunity to grab one, great. But I am not playing into this game for this season.
That's dangerous territory for sure. You love Chubb for what he's done in the past. He's obviously not the same player that he was back then. Woody comes in as a rookie. He's got some talent for sure. But the word is not an everyday player, like every down player. Then you still have Pierce on the roster, and I thought he would have been the person
he's going to
grab.
be the number one.
He's the guy.
But when he had the opportunities to 2 years ago, he couldn't do it. And I don't know if it's because of the line or because of the lack of talent. I don't know.
I've been listening to the I think it's Fantastic Insiders, and I forget who it was, but he's keen in on the situation. Pierce is the guy to watch. If you can throw Pierce, if you got an 18 bench, because what affected Pierce was the running scheme. I think it was the zone was not his power, and there are power running through the line. It's a power through, and that's where Pierce is strengthening. Like when Pierce came into the league, he was Pro Football Focus's highest graded running back. And one of the, I forget what the stat was, but as far as coming out, like not the best, but somehow within their grades, the way they do those weird grades, like
very highly touted.
He was like a B+ or something, but he went lower. And I was on the Pierce train, but apparently I didn't know this till like recently. This guy's been going on for the last week. Like Woody Marks is not going to fit well in this. He's like, don't draft Woody Marks. Woody Marks is a scat back out of there. Chubb, we want him to be good because we love Chubb. We want to hear him come back. But what did he run? 3.2 last year. He came back and he was a shell of himself. We know who Nick Chubb was. He was spectacular. But we also don't want Adrian Peterson in the backfield right now. He was spectacular. He probably wouldn't do too well in the backfield. He might. He's an android. But I think you tag Pierce is a guy I'm looking through. I have him on one of my dynasty teams, and everywhere else he's still logging on dynasty. But if you have deeper benches, I might even put him at a 15-16 because he could give you RB2, 3 in that team because they're gonna run the ball. They want to run it. Yeah. It might take a few weeks though.
Yeah, Sharon, that was a great question you tossed out there too. Chubb and Woody Marks. I think the key here, I think Susan highlighted it best. You really have to kind of keep paying attention because we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know how that backfield is going to shape up. So I know Susan would rather just kind of take hands-off approach on this one. Just let that thing play out. I don't want to stake in that game for sure. Otherwise, I think you probably are just throwing a dart at the board.
According to ADP, Pierce is going undrafted. I mean, overall, he's at 287. So that's based that is undrafted in your everyday home league. So you should be able to get him. It's running back 79. Woody Marks is going at running back 61. and Chubb is going at running back 44.
Yep,
So people are putting their chips in on Chubb,
they
and
are.
I don't think they're right. I think it's going to be
Early
Pierce,
season,
and he's
early
basically
season. I think it might
undrafted.
be. It might be Chubb in the early goings until they kind of figure it out for themselves. And I do feel it does have a little CMC flavor to it. Of well, we'll get them on the IR for now for 4 weeks, and then you're going to hear another story, and then another story, another story. So, when it comes to Pierce and going undrafted in so many leagues at this point in time, here's where the waiver wire becomes important. Don't throw your waiver wire pick away and go to the back of the classroom. Watch what they do in the first couple weeks. If you immediately see them endorse somebody, that's one thing. But if they don't, then it tells me they're still in muddied water.
And on that note, if you want to go, guys, before the next one is Najee Harris, Firecracker Man, that is activated off the NFI. Maybe he all of a sudden can see again. Like JJ Wang and I were joking on Sunday, like you need 2 eyes. I was like, it's just a little peripheral vision. All Najee does is go straight. So it'll be interesting to see. Like that's what he does. That's what he did in Pittsburgh. He slowed down Warren. We talked about Warren. Him. He just went straight for a little bit, fell down, kept going, got up, and he basically, if you gave him the ball 4 times, you got a first down. Barely.
I get visions of Monty Python at this point in time. I still have one leg. I can still run. I can still kick you.
But it'll be interesting to see how he picks it up.
Yeah, and again, for any of the audience, keep throwing these things out to us of people you want to have talk about. Handcuffs, Walker Charbonnet situation. That is very, very interesting because you do hear a lot of rumblings about Charbonnet. We know the track record is on both of these guys with injuries. And so then is this a situation that do you want Charbonnet thinking that, well, maybe he might become RB1 then? I've heard that. Or do you want Walker? He's your go-to guy. There's no reason to unseat him right now. Do you want any share of the Walker Charbonnet stuff, or do you take hands-off approach on that too?
Adam, you go first.
I was a Kenneth Walker guy, and last year I picked him up in my 0 RBs, and he kicked me in the butt because he got hurt. And this year he's falling into that tread. And Charbonnet was another guy coming out. You're like, hey, this guy's going to be pretty good. He's in Seattle with Kenneth Walker, but Kenneth Walker, the door was open. We didn't see much, but the door is open that the team saw that Charbonnet is a decent running back. And as much as I love some Ken Walker, I don't know if I want to pay for him now because the risk is just not there, which is funny. I would take CMC in the first round, which is almost as stupid. But dude, like that's scary, man. CMC, I'm like, dude, I got the 9th pick in that lottery I was talking about. CMC might be sitting there, and I'm like, oh, that could wreck my season or make me stellar. But the 49ers are going to be terrible, I think. I'm a little worried about that. But Charbonnet is starting to get a little too, like, I don't know if I want either because Charbonnet is creeping up there. I think do you have his ranking pulled up, Susan?
Yeah, he's running back 36 right now.
So he's
which
like
is fair value. I mean, it tells you people think a lot of him.
He's jumped up 3 spots since they updated this. So it's 99 overall. Meanwhile, Walker is going as running back 17, 42 overall.
Yeah. I think that just gives props to one's the starter, the other one's not. And I think it's just as simple as that. You know, if Charbonnet were the starter and Walker were not, I think the ADPs probably would just be flip-flopped. What's your take on this pair here, Susan? What do you like? What do you dislike?
I'm okay drafting Charbonnet at his value where he is in the draft. I worry that Walker is being drafted too high. Now, the problem, though, is you don't want to draft guys assuming injury. And, like, that sucks because you think it's a genuine concern for him. Because if he stays healthy, he's going to be great. Darnold's coming in. I think he's going to be surprisingly successful there. And I think that offense is going to be able to move. But it's one of those things where you're risking the injury, and at
he's hurt right now.
Running back, what I say, 17.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so you're drafting him in the middle of the 4th round. I would take Chuba or Kamara. I don't know about Kamara.
Chuba for sure. Kamara probably
he's not going to have
not.
touchdown opportunities like he should.
Yeah.
But Chuba, James Conner, Henderson, they're all going after Walker, and I would rather have those 3 guys in that round.
Yep, I agree. I completely agree.
Also,
with that.
I'm a draft for floor kind of person. That's
Fair
my
enough.
draft take. I am not a risk-taking drafter like other people are. So
Is that why y'all just
caveat on
Kamara? I was off the Kamara train, and this year I'm like, he's the only player on that team. So are they going to just throw 32 guys at him, or is he going to, like last year they were terrible and he still had a pretty good year? So in his values, probably the best Kamara value you've had in a while. And I'm like, oh, so I picked him up in an auction draft for peanuts to throw into my team. So where does he fall?
I think you have to balance out what the whole team has to offer. They couldn't even figure out who the quarterback was until now. I think
Their options are 2 bags of
big questions at the receiver spot, big questions in the running back room as well. Are Kamara's best days behind him? Probably, but is that still good enough to make a viable pitch for him to be on your roster? Maybe, maybe not. But notice that there are a lot of people we've not even talked about because the teams are so bad. There are no handcuffs. So you have to kind of do some research there too, guys. I mean, not you two. You guys know what you guys are doing, but out there, the audience, you got to do your research on these guys because if you look at the ADPs and their starting running back is like RB 25 or after, there's a reason for that, guys. So you've got to keep in mind, where are they drafting at? There is a reason why,
And CEH.
Okay, and I'm going to address this.
Oh, there you go.
I knew it was coming.
So Connor over Walker, I said that, but looking at the list, I don't know that I would take Connor over Walker. Travion Henderson, who's also being drafted afterwards, yes. But I know I said that, but looking at the list, I don't know about this one. So yeah,
Connor's a sneaky guy. As long as we're waiting for him to get hurt. Connor's really good when he plays. As long as he's like, you're never playing if he plays game, but right now, like last year, we've all thought he was done for a decade. And we mentioned Trey Benson. I love some Trey Benson. That was my guy.
Yeah.
That was a stupid pick.
So if you're just waiting for somebody to get injured, like if that's the scary part, I'm definitely taking Walker over Connor. Like if you're going to be playing that game, but
who's surviving?
Yeah.
There's higher upside, I think, with Walker for sure.
Yeah. If anybody in the audience have other people they'd like to throw out there too, just for us to kind of kick around a little bit, we've still got maybe a couple minutes here, but I will always tell people you got to do your own research, form your own opinions. Just don't take our word for it. What you hear in these shows, they're just our perspectives and opinions. We're not always going to get it right, but just take it for what it's worth. Take from it what you want. But if there's anybody who has anybody else they'd like to throw out there to talk about, we certainly could.
One guy I threw out before, if anybody didn't pop it up, is I didn't pick. We had that list we had, and Will Shipley was the guy. I thought that was the low-hanging fruit because we're looking. I was talking to an Eagles fan last night. I'm doing a class for teaching in gift education, and this guy, they said something that nobody knows about you. I'm like, hey, I'm a fantasy football podcaster. Oh, really? So what do you think? I was like, here's my hot take. Saquon, he's a big Eagles fan. Saquon's going to drop off, and I just put that for fantasy pros, and just because I want attention, I guess. But he's like, yeah, he's a diehard Philly guy. He's like, yeah, I think he will too. And he's like, Will Shipley is the guy to keep an eye on. Like, Will Shipley might be a last couple rounds guy. I mean, he's sneaking up there because he's looked good in the preseason, and he might snag. If the Eagles are smart, they're not going to kill Barkley because they won a Super Bowl versus a fantasy football championship. And Shipley could be a guy to keep an eye on as well. That I just think he was the one I was like, I can't do it. It seems too easy. Who's Mr. Boomin? Dalton Kincaid. Mr. Boomin.
Dalton Kincaid. That's a toughie. He's got talent for sure.
That's the problem. He burned
up in Buffalo.
Supposedly he was injured last season. I think this is going to be and that has his draft value is showing it. Where he's going, let me pull up the tight end ones. Where he's going, I think at this point he would be considered a streamer if you're gonna do, if you're gonna be a streaming tight ends. So yeah, he's going as tight end 13, 124 overall. So you're getting him at the start of the 10th round. I am willing to throw a dart throw on him at that value, because there is still no number one receiver there. He has the ability.
True.
He is talented enough that he can definitely be somebody that Josh Allen can be an escape valve for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he can prove to be super useful. And at that round, at that value, totally fine throwing the dart throw on him. Grabbing at the end of the draft, if you're going streaming tight end, grab two guys, making him one of them, I think is totally fine.
And I think if you're thinking about Dalton Kincaid and you're drafting for fantasy, it means you probably missed out on the other guys that you probably should have prioritized, perhaps. We know that there's the top tier. And if you don't jump into the top tier, then you're probably going to wait 2 or 3 or 4 more rounds to go get somebody. We talked about tight ends a couple shows back, I think, too. Dalton Kincaid is falling outside of what most people would feel comfortable as their starter, but you don't know how Josh is going to build that chemistry or continue to build that chemistry with him. So, yeah, I would probably take hands off of that one myself, because I probably would have prioritized getting a tight end sooner than tight end 13 or anything else double digit.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it, guys. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so much for joining us. If you feel like you got value out of this show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share the show with everybody you know. Susan, where can we find you?
Instagram and TikTok are my main platforms, at the little handle right here, at gridiron_goddess there.
Fair enough. The Gridiron guys. Thank you for being here once again. And Adam.
FantasyCouriers.com. Thanks, Rick. There we go. Fantasy Couriers rock, just so we can get it out. It's fun. We're streaming, and the cool thing about the show is now we figured out how they're streaming on all of our platforms. So as you're hitting up all of us for the show, you see the links. And I was telling Susan before, anybody I see, I'm sending her way, like sending things around, and we're making connections here within our communities that it's streamed on this show is streaming on all our platforms. I hope we will lead to multiple platforms, just creating, because that's the goal of the Fantasy Surf Force, is to create like a community of people supporting each other. And that's what I love about this.
I agree. And we're all amongst family here. And of course, I am Cameron Bassett. I support Shelter Dogs for Veterans. And you can find me here on Fantasy Turf War Live every Tuesday. As our illustrious commissioner would say, be excellent to each other, be kind, and until next time, keep moving forward. See ya.